So the Rugby Championship is done and dusted for 2025, and South Africa, they are the victors. 29 points to 27, their latest win over the Argentinians. So New Zealand and South Africa both sitting on the 19 points, but that incredible points differential is what puts the Springboks in first and gets them back-to-back Rugby Championship titles. In this video, we're going to be looking through at this matchup that we just witnessed between South Africa and Argentina. It was a bit of a hectic one. These two sides throwing absolutely everything at each other. Maybe not quite as smooth of a performance for either side, but some brilliant standout players out there on the park for these teams. But jumping straight into it, Argentina came out with a hiss and a roar. The early try of Batista Delgui in the 4th minute. Also prior to that, we did see a yellow card for Kane Moody with a head-on-head collision with one of the Argentinians. But Argentina, they just continued to try and control territory as well as possession in the early stages of the match. South Africa, though, there was one part of their game, in fact, you could list multiple, that looked so dangerous. Scrum time. Anytime there was a scrum, it is what led to the first try for Cobus Reinhardt, just consistently bulldozing the Argentines backwards. I'll be honest, we saw one time where Argentina got themselves a penalty. Outside of that, the scrum of the Springboks was looking about as dominant as it ever has. Oxenshare back in the front row, but I don't know which sides are going to be able to defend this. With the way that the South Africans are going currently, they were able to manipulate the way that scrum was going. There were times where it didn't even look like they were pushing, just to then put in that big shove and win that penalty advantage for their side as well. So that was one part of the game where South Africa were dominant. Another was the rolling maul. Malcolm Marx, he got himself 2 tries in the end. He actually missed out on man of the match. Instead, they gave it to Cobus Reinhardt, but I definitely feel for me, because of that breakdown work from Malcolm Marx, that I would have given him that big achievement of getting the man of the match for this game at Twickenham, where the weather was actually much nicer than it was anticipated. It was supposed to be a rainy game, but obviously all the rain got used up in that New Zealand versus Australia contest. But Cobus Reinhardt got himself the 2 tries. We saw Malcolm Marx stepping up. Peter Steph du Toit once again proving why he is such a dominant player. And then the scrums as well. Thomas du Toit and Oxenshare both doing extremely well for the Argentines. I did actually feel like there were a few players who maybe didn't get enough credit for what they did out there on the field. Batista Delgui is the easy man to say, seeing as he got himself the 2 tries in this match. But Juan Cruz Malia, for a majority of this game, was safe under the high ball. We saw a lot of Pablo Matera in the early stages, and then Marcos Crema just consistently trying to change the momentum of this game. But up against the world champs, it was always going to be a mountain to climb. But the end score, much closer than a lot of people were anticipating. I thought personally that we were going to see another 25-point victory for the South Africans, but the unpredictability of this Rugby Championship once again showed its hand and meant that we got a last-minute thriller between these two sides. But as I am filming this, the Rugby Championship is just about to be lifted by the Springboks. They go back-to-back. They've got 5 matches in November to take place. First up against the Japanese, they've got France, they've got Ireland, some big matches around the corner. But the way that this side is playing, I know that they were close in this match with Argentina, but you'd still have to argue that it was still not the best Springbok performance compared to what we've seen the 2 weeks prior, and maybe not quite finishing the game as well as they would have liked to as well. And that is a scary prospect. The fact that there is so much more improvement that can take place, but they will be more than happy to lift that Rugby Championship, and they will be looking forward to the next challenge for Argentina. They still have to try and work their way into the top 6 for the overall world rankings. They currently sit 7th. They've got 3 matches coming up in November, up against Wales, Scotland, and England. So they need to win at least 2 of those matches, particularly up against the sides that are around the same ranking or higher, in that case up against England, as that would give them a pretty good shot of getting a decent draw for the Rugby World Cup when it is announced in December. But hectic game of rugby, great way to finish off the Rugby Championship, and if it doesn't get you excited for more international rugby in the future, then I don't know what will. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. We've got another match just around the corner. We're covering Bulls versus Leinster, a rematch of the URC final, so a bit more icing on the cake in that regard. But I will see you all for the next one.